Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the BBC. This BBC has nothing to do with Britain. This is the BBC, the big Buccaneer channel, as in the Oceanside Pirates and Buccaneer Beach. Welcome to the BBC, the Oceanside station.
Coming to you from a car-sized drone hovering over Buccaneer Beach, this is the Oceanside Station, created by born and raised O-Siders. This is the Big Buccaneer channel at www.osidebbbc.com. This is episode 86 for April 15th, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got quite a show for you today. We're going to tell you about how there are 2 cannabis shops that look like they're going to be taking over 2 local landmarks. We're telling you about 8 applicants, many of them from out of town, who want to open another 2 marijuana outlets, retail outlets in Oceanside. We'll talk about crime and fire. We've got our beach report. We'll talk about the candidates for the County Board of Supervisors, District 5. One of them's going to throw a beach party here in Oceanside. Brook Street Pool, is it changing its name or not? After 70 years, we'll find out. And pay raises, they were voted in 45%, and we'll tell you about that. For our interview, we've got Kelly King, who has this cool little shop in downtown Oceanside called the Goblin Shark Emporium. For our deep dive, we're going to be talking about 1401 Mission Avenue, which is where the China Star Buffet used to be. What's the history of that octagonal? It's an octagon. It's got 8 sides. It's a building that's got 8 sides. What's its history? Our happy hour, we're going to stop by the BREW in TAVERN. And for our meter reader, we have a message for our mayor. It's not 1936 anymore. Now, here's the news. We've got some big news to tell you about regarding the pot dispensary front. You know, they've had them in Vista for like 6 or 7 years. They've got 11 of them over there. Well, we're going to have 4. And they've already decided that who the 2 licenses are going to be, and the other 2 have yet to be decided. More on that. But right now, we're going to tell you about the 2 folks that they decided on and what they have in mind. Now, the 2 that are approved already have some kind of a cannabis-oriented business going on. I think they deliver, or they're in the manufacturing, that kind of thing. One of them is on San Luis Rey Road, sort of between Airport Road and the Dog Pound. You know, just kind of abutting Mission Avenue as Mission Avenue drops down into the San Luis Rey Valley. Well, that place has been there for a number of years. It's called Medleaf. Well, they want to leave their place there, sort of a warehouse, and they want to take over Paul's Place, which is a family-owned diner. It's a drive-through, and it has an all-day breakfast, and it's a diner, and that's been there for many decades. Well, they're ready to give up the ghost and let the cannabis shop, Medleaf, take it over. And of course, so the Medleaf people have already been given the go-ahead. They can operate a dispensary in Oceanside. Now they have to get that location, that address of Paul's Place on Mission Avenue. They have to convince the city to let them do that. the other big news for the other dispensary that's been approved is for the Left Coast folks, and they're in an industrial park off of Vista Way, and they want to move out of there and move into the building at 1401 Mission Avenue. And that is a building that's been vacant for many years. It most recently was the China Star Buffet. It's the 8-sided building, and it's right immediately east of I-5 on Mission Avenue. It shares a parking lot with the Econo Lodge, and Left Coast wants to take over that building. And not only do they want to take over that building, but they also, once they take it over, they want to sublease part of it to have also within that building be a pizza joint. So it's going to be the building use will be shared with a dispensary. This is the plan. It's going to be shared by a dispensary and by an upscale gourmet pizza place, which many jokes abound, about you get the, you get hungry sometimes when you smoke marijuana and you want to have pizza. Well, it just seems like it's going to work out for the good. The problem, however, is that the mayor she's telegraphed that she does not support the idea of a dispensary so close to the high school. Now, we're going to talk about that at the end of the show in our meter reader segment. And also, we're going to talk about the history of that octagonal building, which was built in 1974, what it's been over the years, and what was there even before that building was built 52 years ago. So that's going to be in our deep dive segment a little bit later on in the show. But for now, the two licensees that have been approved, these are the two locations where they want to go, and it's now up to the city to say yes or no on these specific relocation sites.
I smoke 2 joints in the morning. I smoke 2 joints at night. I smoke 2 joints in the afternoon. It makes me feel all right.
All right, so we just told you that there are 2 licensees to sell cannabis in Oceanside on a retail level, and there's going to be 2 others. The city council said we want a total of 4. Vista has 11, and I'm told it's going to soon go up to 12. And so Oceanside said, okay, we'll have 4. 2 of them have already been announced, and the other 2 have to be decided. There were 15 applicants, people who wanted to get the other 2 licenses, and it was just narrowed down to 8. So what happened, the city hired this company called Rincon out of Ventura County to evaluate and judge which of these 15 are going to make the cut down to 8. Now, what happens now is that there is a 5-person panel that's going to pare down that 8 down to 2. And these 2 will then have to get the conditional use permit, jump through all the hoops, and provide a location of where they want to put the actual marijuana dispensary site. So right now, these 8 applicants are now going to be having to interview face-to-face with 5 people, and that would include the city manager, assistant city manager, deputy city manager, police chief, and the director of finance. They're going to grade these 8 applicants, and the top 2 get to have a license. Now, Here's what's a little odd to me about this whole process. And I'm told that what the city did is they made it so that these applicants would get higher ranking if they dealt with union labor. Now, it seems a little odd to me that you would mandate union labor to sell marijuana, to sell cannabis. But that apparently had a lot to do. And guess what happened? There are 8 people. And now most of these 8, or many of them, are from out of town. Okay? Now 2 of them are from Studio City, which is an LA area, and they both have the very same address. That seems to me very odd that they have the same address to me. That seems a little fishy. Don't you think we should diversify, is my thought. Another applicant who made the cut, the top 8 cut, his address is an apartment in Escondido. Now, 2 of these 8 applicants who made the cut are existing cannabis retailers in Vista. And we must point out that in the last 6 years, Vista has made millions of dollars in tax revenue. They have had no problems with crime, and they have had no problems with selling to minors. They have they have security there, and they've never had one problem in all these 6 or 7 years in Vista. And so that's great. And they have all this extra money coming into the city. We stand to benefit our city coffers and pay for the things that we need in the same way. But what is unclear is why we have all these out-of-town people. There's another person from Newport Beach that made the cut, 2 people with the same address from Studio City, some guy in an apartment in Escondido. Meanwhile, these 7 other people with local roots didn't make the cut. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens next. And as we told you, these 8 people must now be interviewed by the city panel, and we're going to see what happens there. And so we put a call into the gentleman who sort of oversees the process, the selection process, and he works in the planning department. His name is Dane Thompson. We asked for some clarification for him. He did not get back with us, so hopefully we'll find out more going forward about how you can have one applicant make the cutoff and have the same address in Studio City. We don't know the answer to that right now. Hopefully we can find out. In the meantime, it's getting very interesting as we start to unfold the cannabis retail enigma here in Oceanside, California. At 10:30 p.m. on Monday, April 4th, the Oceanside Fire Department responded to a fire at Pacific Senior Living Home on Avenida Pacifica Way. That's near 76 and Melrose. 4 engines showed up and 2 ladder trucks showed up. The fire was contained, and they report that all 20 residents of that memory care facility escaped any harm. At 10 p.m. on Friday, April 10th, a northbound Honda Civic on Douglas Drive hit a pedestrian who was crossing at Rainier Way. And the police report that the car was crossing the intersection with a green light. The pedestrian was crossing when they shouldn't have been crossing, and a 57-year-old man, the pedestrian, was declared dead at the scene. There were no drugs or alcohol found to be impacting the driver. He stayed at the scene and the driver was not cited. As reported last week, here on the Big Buccaneer channel, there was a disturbance at a home on Falling Leaf Road and involving screams from a woman. The Oceanside Fire Department and Police Department responded, and a woman was found dead. She is believed to be the victim of a homicide, and she is a 46-year-old named Bethany Whitwer. And they have arrested a gentleman by the name of Michael Topping, who is 69 years old, who was holed up in the home for a number of hours, a couple hours, but he eventually surrendered, and he is now in custody, and he is suspected of homicide. And now it's time for the Big Buccaneer Channel's Beach Report with the latest from Oceanside Lifeguard Captain Tyler Berry. And we can report that right before 9 p.m. on Saturday, April 11th, the Marine Safety Unit was deployed to rescue a sailboat that had overturned at the harbor entrance. And the boat was overturned, and they rescued two folks. One of the person was transported to a hospital in stable conditions, but the lifeguards and the fire department tell you that anytime there is a strong current or hazardous conditions, it's very dangerous to have your sailboat out near jetties or the mouth of the harbor. And as we said, that person was reported to be in stable condition. The dredging continues now through May, and it has worked its way down it's right near the pier right now, and eventually it's going to move to the other side of the pier, and that would be, I guess, south of the pier. And so we can welcome all the sand it's putting on the beach. However, we must tell you that there is a website called sdbeachinfo.org, and it tells you the water quality of the beaches that you may want to go into. Right now, sdbeachinfo.org says that because of the dredging and because of all the toxins that might be put into the ocean near where the dredging activity is happening, it says that those beaches near that dredging activity may not be healthful, and maybe you should stay away from the beach, from going into the water near the dredging activity. The water temperature is 61 degrees off the coast of Oceanside, California. All right, we don't vote for our city councilman until November, but there is a June election, the California primary election, and that's where we get to decide which two folks are going to make it out of the June election and into the November race to replace Jim Desmond, who has been our county supervisor. He's now in our 8th year. Now, it seems like there are three major challengers. They would be the Republicans, who would be John Franklin, Vista Mayor, and Rebecca Jones, San Marcos Mayor, and Oceanside local Kyle Crail, who is a 2000 Oceanside High graduate, valedictorian, and he now is a staffer with Congressman Mike Levin. Well, what's interesting in this race, and by the way, the ballots for that June 2nd election are going to be going out in about 3 weeks. So we're going to be getting them in the mail around May 1st. Now, what's interesting about this ballot and this race for the District 5, which is the North County part of the County Board of Supervisors, is that it doesn't say Republican or Democrat. And what's real interesting is that under the names of all three of the leading candidates, they say they have a business, or they're a small business owner, or they're a businessman, businesswoman. And what I find even more interesting about that is that Rebecca Jones, who is the mayor of San Marcos, says she's a business person, but she has no license to do business in the city of San Marcos, which I find to be a little odd. And additionally, she admitted that she went bankrupt at some time, and things happen. But nevertheless, that's what happened with Rebecca Jones. It doesn't say that on the ballot statement. It says she's a businesswoman and a mayor. John Franklin says he's a business person and a mayor too, but his business used to be a political company, including his major client for many years was Darrell Issa. Well, Darrell Issa is no longer going to be running for office, so Mr. Franklin has sort of morphed his business, and it's now advising people on corporate, on marketing, that kind of stuff. And he's backing out of the political advising realm and sticking with marketing for corporations and businesses. Kyle Crail also says on his ballot that he is a businessman, and so we asked Mr. Crail, what exactly is your business? And he was nice enough to get back to us, and he says it's called Frolanders Family Partners, and many of us know that the Frolanders family had many successful businesses, restaurants in town, including the Grove in Oceanside and the Quails Inn in San Marcos, and the Paddock in Encinitas. Well, that business is owned by his family, and it controls the property, various properties, commercial property. So he says it's his business. It doesn't say that he works for Congressman Levin. It just says he's a businessman. And it must be noted that Mr. Crail is getting outspent by a lot, or potentially because of how much money has been raised, by the two Republican mayors. So it must be, I think, key for Mr. Crail to make the cut to the November election, to make the top two cutoff. And it might be difficult if he doesn't have as much money as the other two, and that it doesn't get to say Democrat under his name. And I must point out also that Mr. Crail is having a beach party of sorts, and the Mayor Sanchez, and the deputy mayor will be there at this beach party. It will be Sunday, April 26th at 1 p.m., and it will be at the Harbor Beach in Oceanside. That's Sunday, April 26th. It's a beach get-together celebrating the candidacy for Kyle Crail for District 5 on the beach. The Flying Pig has been called out by San Diego Magazine as the place that first put Oceanside on the map as a food destination. But do yourself a favor and do not forget that the Flying Pig Pub and Kitchen in downtown Oceanside has daily lunch specials built around their homemade pasta. Daily lunch pasta specials may include spaghetti or rigatoni or campanelli, whatever pasta is made that day, drenched in bouillabaisse sauce. The Flying Pig Pub and Kitchen at 501 Mission with a magnificent homemade pasta lunch special from 11:30 to 4:30 weekdays. The Flying Pig is the place for freshly made pasta and weekday lunch specials. www.oceansidepig.com. This is the Big Buccaneer Channel, the Oceanside station, and we're very glad to have you listening to what we put out every Wednesday. And with us now is a special guest, and I should point out that on May 13th, we're going to be having a birthday special, which is pre-recorded, where we interview myself and two other folks who were all born on May 13th, different years, but the same day. And that would be Roddy Browning from the Flying Pig and Ross Charles, who for 27 years had Earth Culture, which was a sort of an import store, and it was a record store, and it had all sorts of stuff from Jamaica that he imported. And it went away in 2020, but it was around for like 23 years. And he was on the 100 block of South Coast Highway, and he took over the spot that used to be for many years the bookstore there, the magazine bookstore, and but as it turns out, today we have someone who is the neighbor of where Ross Charles used to be. And that would be Kelly King, who is the proprietor, owner, and major person behind Goblin Shark Emporium. And it's a sort of a, Kelly, what do you call it? A resale? What's a...
Some of it. I mean, it's just a really fun and cool store.
Yes.
We do have vintage and like consignment stuff, but we also have... same thing with like vinyl, from other local vendors, but we do have work from local artists, very unique gifts. We have lots of fun T-shirts, including our own, which I'm wearing today. And we have a small art gallery that changes out every month with local artists as well. So, I just call it a store. When people ask what it is, that's why
Very
it's
good.
the Emporium.
But it's got soul, and it's got culture, and it's fun, and it's... stores like that kind of identify a neighborhood or a community kind of sometimes, it seems like.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's like the stores like mine are the ones when I go visit a different place. Those are the stores that I go to. I try to seek out. So
your store is different from that store on the corner on your block that used to be there. It was a secondhand store, but it also had really cool collectible stuff, and it went away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's been gone for years now.
What was it called?
Oh gosh.
It was right on the corner of Seagaze, formerly
101 something.
Sure, okay. And now, and that's going to be an investment company, I guess, or something.
Yeah,
like
that building was sold. That
Right.
corner spot.
So you are celebrating your 4-year anniversary on May 1st. And you're right there, sort of in the middle of the block there. What's your exact address?
109 South Coast Highway.
Okay.
So we were, for many years, that building, the exact spot was Hill Street Lock and Key.
Right. Hill Street Lock and Key. And they folded about 5 years ago or so, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. When I took over, there was a different business that had already been in that spot and had since left.
And so what brought you to Oceanside?
Well, I live in Oceanside.
Yes. Good.
Originally, I am from Memphis, Tennessee, and I haven't lived there in a long, long time. I've been out here. I've been in Oceanside specifically for over a decade now. I moved all over the country. I wanted to get out of the South as fast as I could when I was younger, and landed here. This has been my favorite so far. I mean, I lived in snow. I lived in, was in LA for a hot sec. Gross. All over San Diego, got out of Escondido real fast. Too hot there. Way too hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, ended up here and I love it. It's my favorite.
Oh, cool. And so you've been around for 4 years, so apparently Oceanside likes you too. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we support the locals and, the locals support us.
That's so cool. Now, so the shirt I'm wearing today, I got from you, and and I think I look very sexy in it. Thank you very much. And but you have classic shirts like this. What do you call it? Retro, but they're just classic style.
I mean, we've got a whole bunch of fun T-shirts, but then we also have like secondhand, consignment clothing that is, you get, like yours is a short sleeve button up or button down, and we carry a lot of like Hawaiian shirts and things like that, and vintage, like really fun, just fun stuff. We try to,
Cool. All right. Now, so you've been going along, and so except I've been noticing. We interviewed Ross Charles, who had the reggae store Earth Culture, and he closed shop about 6 years ago, after 27 years. But I've also noticed there's some other vacancies there on your block. You're adjacent. There was a boxing ring there, and that closed down, and now it's vacant. Mm-hmm. And there's another vacancy adjacent to you as well.
Yes.
What was in that spot?
That was previously on. They sold
previously on
things that were from like canceled TV shows. So clothing, furniture, all sorts of stuff like that.
Okay. So let's get to the meat of the situation.
The nitty-gritty.
Why did they leave your block?
So a few years ago, our landlord, who owns those 4 units, sold to investors. Or they sold to what turned out to be investors, and they're like realtors as well. So anytime someone's lease is up, they ask for double the rent, which we're already paying a lot. So double that is wild. Like only a chain could afford to fit it in there or to pay that. And that's clearly what they want. But, I looked into it, and this is what they're doing at all the places they've taken over. Other small businesses, other small businesses all over San Diego have reached out to me because they found out we have the same landlord. And they're like, oh no, because they got pushed out already. And right now, what they are doing to try and fill those vacancies, not ask for less of an insane rent, they decided to paint over the whole building, including all of our exterior murals, which is our signage. That is how people find our tiny little strip of a store on Coast Highway. It was like bright turquoise and teal and had a big pink goblin shark on it, and it was just really fun. And I have people come in every day and tell me they came in because they saw it and they thought, that's a cool place, I gotta come in here. Even if they're driving down Coast Highway, walking, whatever, we would get reviews all the time that said that exact same thing. And I pleaded with these people for months because they told me they were going to do this like months ago, and I've been talking to everyone I could possibly talk to try and prevent this from happening, but it's nothing I could do. So,
what an asshole, ham-fisted move.
I know, everyone hates it. They already so far they did a stucco patch over my signage, and it left it just like half signage, half gross stucco swipes over it, and they left it like that for a full business week for us. And people thought we'd close down, and I instantly lost business. It's very messed up, and I've been trying to, talk to these people. If you're going to do this, which you already are, just do it faster. What is happening? There were people they paid to come do this, didn't even show up for half the days that they were supposed to be there.
But I mean, you have another year left on your lease.
Oh yeah, I got a whole year
left. Why would they do this to you, knowing that you're going to be there for a year?
Because they're just mean, awful people. Literally, that is what the other businesses told me. That they're this guy.
He's ruthless.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the Big Buccaneer channel, and I'm so glad that Kelly King from Goblin Shark Emporium asked to come on here because we love hearing, we don't love hearing about stories like this, but we love the fact that we give the opportunity for people like Kelly to talk about your plight, and it's awful. but nevertheless, it's something we should talk about. And so you have your 4-year anniversary, May 1st. When does your lease run out, if I could ask that?
Technically, April 1st. We opened May 1st. I actually got the keys on my birthday, which is March 29th. And then I took 1 month to get the place ready. I basically lived in there for like 1 month, just constantly, because I knew that we had to be open by the summer. I want to be open by May 1st. So, yeah, I guess that means we've got 11 months left.
And so what about, I don't know, Main Street or the city of Oceanside or anybody else? Did anybody step up to even give you condolences or anything? Or?
Oh, I mean, yeah, everyone has been like, so sorry this is happening. We want to do what we can to help you. I mean, I was reached, or the person that's actually the like chair, I think, of the Arts Commission reached out and handle or does stuff with the Cultural District Committee or whatever they are. They do cultural district meetings. But everyone who tried to like reach out to the landlords, they just didn't, they didn't answer an email or a phone call or anything. They didn't return phone calls, like they just ignore people. And they do that to me too. Like I can't get answers from them for anything. They're not, they're terrible.
So the other business that is feeling the pressure here is the hair salon.
Yeah, the hair parlor, which is my next door neighbor. And I think they moved in and signed their lease in 2020, and they signed a 10-year lease. So they're stuck there with them for, a while.
Wow. In the meantime, you have no plans on staying?
I mean, I have this huge, beautiful mural on the inside, and it's going to be really hard to move that. But I know that they're going to ask, double. They're not going to tell me how much they're asking until like I think 90 days before or whatever. But everyone else, it has been literally double their rent and
double the rent.
Yeah, and it's already wild rent.
And it's apparently they prefer to have vacant space.
Well, I mean, you can sit there, you can ask. Like for the boxing gym, you can ask $11,000 a month is what they're asking for no AC, like nothing. They just like painted the inside. But if it sits there and they don't get what, no one moves in, then they can like write it off as a loss or whatever. So they're still making money,
Yeah, unbelievable. This is the Big Buccaneer channel, and we're speaking with Kelly King of Goblin Shark Emporium. So they want $11,000 for the space that was formerly occupied by the boxing gym.
Yeah.
It was called Navarres, right?
Yeah.
Navarres, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Navarres moved.
Yeah, they're next to Allen's Bikes now. So they're just down the street.
Sure. Okay. God, they're good people, and we really like them. Well, in the meantime, this is I like to throw the seed out on the land and talk about your plight, but in the meantime, all we can really say is go by and support Goblin Shark Emporium and go say hi to Kelly.
Well, thank you.
Right?
Yeah. And we do have our 4-year anniversary. We're going to have like big sale that whole weekend. And also that Saturday, the 2nd, will be the opening reception for that month's gallery. We do a different themed group show of local artists every month in the gallery. And that month will be all like cat-themed art.
Cat-themed art.
Yeah, that one's called Too Fast, Too Furious, I believe. We let the people name them.
Oh, boy. All right. Kelly King, thanks for joining us today. And for whatever you do, go by and say hi to her at Goblin Shark Emporium, 109 South Coast Highway. Kelly, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And now, it's time to take a deep dive into Oceanside's deep, rich past. It's Deep Roots, Deep Dive. All right, we told you that round octagon building at 1401 Mission immediately east of I-5 on Mission, was built in 1974. And according to John Orlando, who is sort of the agent for that building, that building, along with two other similarly built 8-sided buildings, they were all built at the same time in 1974. One is in Vista, and that building is still there. And another one was on I-5 and Tamarack in Carlsbad. Now, that building eventually became a restaurant bar, and it has since been torn down. But they were all three built by the chain known as Spires. And Spires gave way eventually to a couple other restaurants. It seems to me, I remember one of them being Daisy's, and Christy Hawthorne, our historian, said that Grandee was another one of the coffee house restaurants that was there from 1995 to about 1998, she says, when it was closed. Then the China Star Chinese Buffet came in the early aughts, somewhere between 2000 and 2003. And of course, it was a favorite for many people, but it was closed by 2018. Now, what was real interesting in 2019, it was the place, it was closed down. It was vacant. Now, in 2019, Larry Flint, publisher, the very colorful wheelchair-bound publisher of Hustler magazine, he had a chain of stores that marketed sex-oriented, leather teddies and various devices in magazines and various things sex related. And he wanted to lease that building out for his hustler chain. And what he often did is when he didn't get his way, he sued landlords and often won in court in the LA area where he did this. And he eventually won and got to open his stores. Well, he was going to do the same thing here at this building at 1401 Mission, much to the horror of many locals. But Mr. Flint did back off, and he died a few years after that. But it's still, that building has been vacant since about 2018. So for 8 years, it's been nothing. And that's where we are now with the dispensary wanting to come in and be sited there. And so we're going to have to see what happens here. But Christy Hawthorne says that it's under her understanding, our historian says, her understanding that building was built in 74, as well as the adjacent 60-unit hotel, which we think was called Motel 6 and is now called Econo Lodge. Now, before the Octagon building was built, our friend Bill Markey, who graduated from Oceanside High the same year as myself, tells us that he remembers that in the 60s, I don't remember this part, but he says there was a Dairy Queen there, and there was also a CHP building there too, like a substation. And Christy Hawthorne says she could not find any evidence that there was a Dairy Queen there, but yes, there was a CHP substation there from 1959 until the new CHP station was built on Oceanside Boulevard, which, of course, it was torn down a few years ago. But its grand opening, the new CHP place on Oceanside Boulevard, had its grand opening in May of 1967. And now the hotel is there, and it has a new name, and more on that later. but Christy did say that, again, she's not sure if there was a Dairy Queen there, but certainly there was a Dairy Queen, she says, at Thunder Drive, where there is now a Domino's Pizza. And this Dairy Queen was there, she says, in the 70s.
Delicious.
I like it too. Yes, I do like it.
Delicious.
It's time for Happy Hour, that time on the Big Buccaneer channel where we highlight an oceanside eatery or night spot that features food or drink specials during happy hour or any time they choose. Today, we stop by the Brew Inn Tavern, and that's at 1910 Oceanside Boulevard. And their happy hour is from 2 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And they have $1 off draft beers and $2 off glasses of wine. And on Wednesday, it's wings special, and they have wings for 75 cents. I think that's the cheapest place you're going to find for wings anywhere in Oceanside. And also, during happy hour, you can rent pool tables. Normally, you can rent them by the hour there for $8 an hour. But during happy hour, you can get them for $5 an hour. And during Padres games, they have pitcher specials. Get it? Pitchers? Padres? Get it? Baseball? All right. The pitchers, they have $20 pitchers of Estrella or Jalisco, $24 pitchers of mid-tier beers, and $27 for premium beers like Stone Delicious or Mammoth, $3.95. And that's all at the Brew Inn Tavern at 1910 Oceanside Boulevard.
Delicious.
Oh, have some more. Get the waiter and bring it. Put on the paper hat. Get out the lamp. I even like the cork.
Now it's time for the Oceanside Meter Reader, the segment where we gift a local person, place, or phenomenon on its degree of wonderfulness or worthlessness, with a rating from Cape Magnifique down to nuclear dumpster fire. Now, we have heard that there are 2 marijuana dispensaries. They have their license, but they have to get their locations approved. And one of them is the Paul's Place Diner on Mission Avenue. The other one is 1401 Mission Avenue, the 8-sided building where the China Star Buffet was. And it's been dormant for like 8 years. And we're told, or we're pretty clear, that the Mayor Sanchez will not be happy over the idea that the 1401 Octagon building would be used as a dispensary. She has said that it's just too close to Oceanside High School. And my point here, and I have many reasons why I would disagree with that, and why I think that she should stay away from that 90-year-old movie from 1936, Reefer Madness. This is 2026, not 1936. Here are the reasons why I think that the marijuana hysteria is for a different decade, and why it would be a good idea to allow one of these dispensaries to go at 1401 Mission. First, number 1, Vista has 11 dispensaries, and they have crushed it. They have brought in so much revenue to the city in tax money, and they have had no reported problems of crime, and they have had no reported problems of minors coming in to these places, which of course they've got guards to make sure that doesn't happen. Vista has 11, soon to be 12, I'm told, dispensaries. Oceanside will only have 4 dispensaries. So I think that we're not overdoing it by having just 4 dispensaries in Oceanside. As we pointed out in Vista, this means a huge tax income to the city of Oceanside. Yes, there will always be the black market unless the police crack down. They haven't indicated they will, but nevertheless, as we're told, there are many older folks who like to partake, and there are tourists. Both of those groups prefer to go to a legal dispensary than to rely on the black market. In case you didn't notice, marijuana is now legal in California. Hate to be rude, but that's the way it is. 5, it's not like the smoke will be wafting over across the freeway and invading Oceanside High School. They're not going to be allowing smoking there. The dispensary, should it open. 6, this is very important. The dispensary says it will have 24/7 security. Now, that OCTAGON building that used to be the China Star Buffet, shares a parking lot with the Econo Lodge. The representative who represents the building says that parking lot that shares the parking lot with the Econo Lodge does have episodes of prostitution and drug use, illegal drug selling, I should say. Drug sales are going on there, he maintains, and prostitution is going on there, and that by having this 24/7 security company there looking out for the dispensary, it will help decrease crime in that parking lot. And finally, that building has been empty for 8 years. Does the word blight mean anything to you, Mayor Sanchez? We urge this blight concept not to be applied to that part of Oceanside. Let's let it be a productive building with commerce, with employees, with taxes coming into the city. For the concept that we might still be in 1936 when Reefer Madness first came out, that gets Mayor Sanchez the second worst Oceanside meter reader ranking. It's an embarrassment. It's a turd in the punch bowl. It's this week's civic train wreck.
Oh no.
That wraps it for episode 86 for April 15th, 2026. This is the Big Buccaneer channel at www.osidebbbc.com. We are the Oceanside station. We'd love to hear from you at osidebbbc@gmail.com or by phone at 442-452-2623. And we're all about Oceanside. We put a new episode up every Wednesday. Special thanks to historian Christy Hawthorne and to Bill Marquis, who helps us remember stuff that's we don't always went out of our heads, but he's there. Thanks for Bill. And special thanks to audio engineer Von Ramirez and Oceanside lifeguard captain Tyler Berry. And until next week, this is Ken Treadway saying, thank you, Oceanside.